Welcome back to Just Chattin. And this is the series of videos we do on Thursday and Sunday evenings just for our own entertainment. So for all you Audie fans, Audie is right here with his front two paws on my leg, trying to determine whether or not he's going to jump into my lap. He's not. He's walking around the back. I expect that means he's going to crawl up into the chair. Here we go. Into the chair behind me. Yes, Audie definitely wants to be on camera, but he's a cat. He needs to be on camera on his own terms. Heaven forbid anybody else tell him what to do. So how about, come on, they haven't seen you for a while. How about you say hi? Yeah, there we go. All right, so we've got some Audie time. I'm going to have to do something about this tail, which is a lethal weapon. We are going to talk this evening about Nutmeg because she has given yet another interview. And of course, every time she opens her mouth, it's just an opportunity for her to either create a new fantasy story or double down on the lies she's already told. So this should be interesting. We're going to take a break for the intro. I am going to see if I can get this little bugger out of here because there's no way I'm going to be able to finish the video with his tail up my nose. So, we'll be back in 22 seconds. So Audie is safely off in the kitchen now. I bribed him with cat treats, so hopefully we're going to be able to do the rest of this video without interruption. Before we get on to what Nutmeg is up to, let's take just a quick look at what's going on for the sock puppet. He has been in the news a lot lately. The crumbling of the Steube charity is probably on the top of everybody's radar. But while all this is going on, his case against the UK Crown to regain his security, taxpayer-funded security, it's not mince words about that, is being heard on Tuesday and Wednesday. So this is airing Sunday night U.S. time, very early Monday morning UK time. So this should all be coming to a boil in 24 to 48 hours. Apparently there is no information yet as to whether or not he will be showing up for the hearing. And one of the papers speculated that he would not be showing up because Nutmeg's new Lemonada podcast is airing on Tuesday. I don't understand why anybody thinks that would impact the sock puppet's court case, but apparently they do. So the speculation is he simply may not be showing up. I would think if he had made a statement indicating he was showing up, that there would be no cause for speculation at all, leading me to believe that he's doing one of his usual, maybe I'll be there, maybe I won't. I have to say, this is good because this new case is being heard in the public forum. I don't know how common that is in the UK. I know in the US, one of our principles of justice is open trials. That the trial should be open to the public. If you are in the vicinity of a courtroom, in most cases, you could just walk in and sit down and listen to a trial, even if you have no stake in the matter. There are some exceptions, and those are primarily issues involving domestic matters and children and things like that. The things that should be exceptions that we can all get behind. But an issue like this certainly would have been in open court. I don't know if this is unusual in the UK, since I'm not a UK citizen. I don't know what is ordinary. But the press is making a big point of the fact that this is going to be an open courtroom proceeding that's open to the public. My first thought was, how is this likely to impact the results of this hearing? And I have to say, I think this is a good sign. It seems to me that if the court is not swayed by his appeal, would they not want the British people to see plainly that the appeal is going nowhere? That's my thinking anyway, that perhaps this is an indication that the court has already just made up their mind that they're hearing the appeal as a pro forma matter, not because they believe he has much of a case. On the other hand, I don't have a crystal ball. What I will say is I think we are all hoping that the UK continues its perfectly reasonable and justifiable position that the sock puppet is not a working member of the British royal family, has no connection with the official British government, and is therefore not entitled to enhanced security. The sock puppet's notion that, oh God, it gives me a headache, this is so entitled. The sock puppet's notion that he was born to the risk because he was born a prince and he should just get it by his birthright should be revolting to anyone in the 21st century. You know, this is not 14th century Tsarist Russia. And actually, I don't even think Tsarist Russia would be giving him security. So, but I think the thinking behind it, that he is somehow special simply because of who his parents were, who his family is, and that he's somehow deserving of more benefits at the taxpayer's expense than anyone else, is utterly repulsive to me. Utterly repulsive. So I am in support of the British position thus far, and I hope they continue with it. So that is very much the end of our sock puppet news. Let's get on to Nutmeg. She gave an interview to the New York Times, and it went down pretty much the same way the last New York Times interview went down. The writer was quite sarcastic and seemed to be having a bit of a laugh at Nutmeg's expense. But we did come up with this whole batch of new lies exposed. So let's start with, remember the show With Love, Meghan, the cooking show? Oh, I will never be able to forget it. I mean, it's like I want to go in for electroshock treatments to get that out of my head. But still, it's there, rent-free. She said over and over again in this show that she feeds her children garden fresh produce, and she makes them fruit platters, and she makes them little veggie crudités, and they love it. And then we're looking at like a month later. She tells the New York Times that she's feeding them chicken nuggets, veggie burgers, and tater tots. Yeah. Well, what is it? Are we feeding them like a granola mom, or are we feeding them fast food out of the freezer? Both cannot be true, because I think we all know that those parents who lay out veggie platters for their children do not let those kids go anywhere near chicken nuggets or tater tots. So we have yet another, this is my public image, this is what I do in my real life. you try to sort it out. And the thing is, this is one of the reasons that people find her so unrelatable. I don't think she realizes this, that she comes across as the ultimate poseur. It's like whatever is new and hip and trendy and politically correct, she's going to get behind it because, oh yeah, she's the almond mom. And in fact, she's feeding her kids the same garbage half of us feed our kids. The truth of the matter is, we do not know what is going on. We do not see those kids eating. We don't see those kids, period. So heaven only knows what, if anything, she's actually feeding them. Now we have this whole news story, and keep in mind, this is on top of the overview that has strained credibility for years, that she is living in a $14 million house with 16 freaking bathrooms. Lord only knows how much staff, but she's doing the cooking. It's like, come on. Nobody is buying into that. But we also, in addition to having this new, well, it is a lie. The fact is, either she's lying when she says she feeds her children nothing but fruits and veggies, or she's lying when she says she feeds her children nothing but tater tots and chicken nuggets. They can't both be right. But she doubled down on yet another lie. And this is a lie that she first told in 2020. And we heard her life story is so many times at that point that it was sort of a jolt when in 2020 she decided to abandon her narrative that she had been raised in affluent circumstances, private schooling. Father was an Emmy Award-winning lighting director in Hollywood for General Hospital, among other things, which was one of the biggest daytime shows on television at the time that she was born. Absolutely. Oh yeah, I was in college then. I remember kids would actually schedule their classes around the General Hospital schedule because they would all be in the common rooms watching that show. It was huge. In 2020, she changed the narrative. It was no longer eating at fancy restaurants and, being driven in a limousine from her private school to whatever set her father was filming on. That was the previous narrative. To all of a sudden, she was the ultimate hard-knock kid. Started working at 13 in a frozen yogurt shop. What a tragic life she had. Complete rags to riches story. Well, that's a lie. Her father called it out, but he didn't need to. And the reason he didn't need to is everyone in the U.S. knows that children at 13 are not allowed to work in food service. Even working in a place like a frozen yogurt parlor involves operating equipment which is not deemed safe for underage children. Sorry, that's a fact. As I understand it, the yogurt place itself denied that she worked there. And I do have to say, I hate to have to say this, but I have to. If they had actually employed a 13-year-old child, of course, they would deny it. The violation of labor laws, they could get their business shut down. So I would not expect under any circumstances they would have said yes. But do I think they're lying to defend criminal actions? Or do I think it's more likely that it's the truth? They had no idea what she was talking about because she never worked there. That's what my money is on. Because you just can't work in the kinds of jobs she was claiming she had at age 13. Now, if she said that she was actually acting on General Hospital or Married with Children or whatever, yes, child performers can work. That is a separate category of employment, not food service, period. So everyone in the U.S. had to have known the minute she said that it was a lie. But she has doubled down on it. And in this interview, she went back and said, I love working. I've worked since I was 13 years old. I've always worked. No. Actually, I did a video some time ago and tried to track her employment chain. And there are huge gaps in her resume. So has she always worked? No, not even close. She has, in fact, spent most of her adult life not working. So for every 1 year she's worked, there's been 1 year when she hasn't, minimum. So she's doubling down on that little piece of fantasy. She was also very heavily criticized in that interview for doing things like telling people how to make tea. You have to put the tea bag in hot water. Wow, I had no idea. I've been putting my tea bags in ice water, and maybe that's the reason it hasn't been coming out well all these years. You don't have to be British to know that you put the tea bag in hot water. Everybody knows this. But the interviewer did, in fact, point out that this was ridiculously condescending and patronizing, which again goes back to the fact that she is just not a very likable person. Oh, and by that I mean Nutmeg, not the interviewer. I give the interviewer full props for calling her on that one. And then I just want to finish this up because I am breaking early. I've decided I need to cut these videos a little short. I'm not sure that the 30-minute format is really working out well, so I'm going to try something different. Anyway, on that same topic, we then see the information about her As Ever company products. Now, the last time we got together, we spoke about this, and I said, yes, they claim she is selling everything out. Oh, it's all sold out. Well, we have no idea. As I said, if she had 4 million items on the shelves to begin with, that would be an accomplishment. But if she had 500 jars of honey, I don't think so. Not exactly. And the media is starting to pick up on that. They are starting to say, yes, she has claimed she has sold out, but we think this is just a marketing ploy, just something people say to make the product look successful. 100% agreement. But on top of that, we have something of a scandal coming out because the company that is actually fulfilling the purchase orders, and I should probably give you a quick explanation of this. If you have a company and you make a product, you might not have the necessary skills to get the product from your factory floor into the customer's hands. And you might therefore choose to employ a marketing company or a fulfillment company. And they will take your cases of product, put it in their warehouses, and then ship out orders to your customers. And that's basically what it is. It can be a little more complicated than that, but it could also be very, very dicey. The company that Nutmeg has chosen to use, which is like Snow Productions, has a 1-star rating with the Better Business Bureau. Now, I understand for our friends in the UK, the Better Business Bureau is probably something you haven't heard of. It's one of the oldest and most reputable consumer protection agencies out in the community. The Better Business Bureau ranks the honesty, the integrity, the responsiveness of businesses. It is voluntary. You don't have to go into the Better Business Bureau system if you don't want to, but they will take complaints. And having a good Better Business Bureau rating is the mark of a responsible company. Having a 1-star rating with the Better Business Bureau, by the way, 1 out of 5. Having a 1-star rating means basically you're at the bottom of the barrel. So she's gotten a lot of criticism for this, and with good reason, because if you go to her webpage and say, I want to buy this, it will say, a little disclaimer right there, that all fulfillment issues are the responsibility of Snow Productions. So once you place that order, she's washed her hands of it. She gets the money. Snow Productions gets anything else. And if you have a problem with that order, well, given that 1-star rating from the Better Business Bureau, odds are you are not going to have that problem solved to your satisfaction. So I look at this and I say, Nutmeg has no idea what she's doing. She's basically just throwing things against the wall, hoping something sticks. And we've seen this. It started off with strawberry jam. Now it's raspberry spread. And there's no business plan. She is the CEO, because remember, she fired the old CEO and replaced that person with herself. She is the CEO of a company with 2 or 3 products, no distribution chain other than our 1-star production company, and no business plan. So I'm finding this remarkably entertaining. It's also been alleged that what is happening is that people go to her website to order products, and she is simply data mining. I believe that. That was alleged about the Archewell website 5 years ago. So do I think they are data mining? Yes. Do I think they are gathering information, selling it for their profit without your consent? Yes, I certainly do. All right, so that is what's going on. I think probably the biggest takeaway in all of this is the fact that Nutmeg is scrambling around like a chicken with her head cut off. Do I think things are going the way she had hoped and planned? No, I do not. Do I believe the product is flying off the shelves? No, I do not. Do I believe that in very short order, that fulfillment company is going to bring her more bad press than she knows what to do with? Yes. And I can't feel good about that, because if in fact they're not shipping people the goods they've bought, then it is the general public who suffers for that. So despite the fact that I would love to see Nutmeg get her comeuppance, it's not at the cost of, some money laid out by a hardworking family for a bunch of overpriced jam. Lord only knows where it came from, but I think we all know for sure it did not come from the garden in Nutmeg's backyard. All right, that is what I have for you. We are going to break early. Like I say, I'm trying to adjust us to a new time format. We'll see how well it works out. As always, very interested in your comments. We are going to take a look at a slideshow on the way out, and I hope to see you all next time. Meanwhile, have a terrific day.